Hello and welcome everyone here today at the Secure International Circuit for the TCR's Silver Class Season 10 round number 1 here today at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Located on an island just off the Persian Gulf, Bahrain has been hosting Formula 1 races all the way back since 2004 onward, with Michael Schumacher winning the first one in 2004 for Scuderia Ferrari. 15 turns, 3 TCR zones, and a circuit distance of 5.412 kilometers make up a long distance of the Secure International Circuit. Overtaking for around here will be extremely fun to watch, with overtaking spots down into the tight and heavy braking zone at turn number 1. Previously in real Formula 1 Grand Prix overtaking, in 2019, Charles Leclerc and Sebastian Vettel, the two teammates at Scuderia Ferrari, battled it out. Charles Leclerc taking his first ever pole at that race in the second round of the 2019 championship. Eventually, Vettel took the lead at the start. Leclerc eventually passed him back at a phenomenal overtaking spot down into turn 1, so we'll see a lot of overtaking spots there. Another overtaking spot would be into the second DRS zone at turn number 4, maybe even going into turn 5, turn 6, and turn 7 if you're brave enough. Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg were brave enough when they made a phenomenal race for us to watch. The two Mercedes drivers battling it out for the entire race, trading positions, with Hamilton winning out to Rosberg back in 2014. 3 different tire compounds for the dry tires, of course, will be used here today. The hards will be used of the slowest of these 3 different tire compounds, with a white striped hard tire will be used for long distance driving and for testing as well. If you want to get a nice idea of the circuit, your setup, something like that, you would use the hard tires for testing, as well as a long distance tire. So we're going to see that mostly into strategies. Another tire that is mostly known for making the best strategy option is the medium tires. Of course, the medium tire of the 3, the yellow striped tires, will be used in the most of the race for tire strategies. So we're going to see most every single driver putting on the medium tires here today, with a circuit that demands extreme tires to be used. Extreme degradation can be used when it comes down to turn 10, so you got to make sure to take that very easily. So the medium tires will be the optimum tire strategy for some of these guys here today. We'll have to see how that goes, but the medium tires, of course, great qualifying tire as well if you want to start in that for like a one-stop strategy. And of course, the fastest of the 3, the soft tires, the fastest of the 5 tires in today's race, the soft tires, the red stripe tires, mostly used for qualifying here today, and in the race as well, to bring us some exciting, interesting strategies to watch early on in the race. So we're going to see a lot of drivers pitting very early in the race on those soft tires, and then switching to a mediums or a hard tire. We'll have to see how that goes. If there's going to be some rain, which I doubt there will be, because Bahrain has never hosted a rain race in Formula 1 history, but who knows, it could happen here today. So going back onto that, there's 2 different tire compounds for that. The intermediate tires, the green stripe tire, mostly used for light condition rain, and if we're going to see a heavier condition rain, we're going to see the blue stripe wet tires. So we'll have to see how that goes. But guys, welcome back here today for the TCR's Season 10. Season 10, a lot of seasons here today. So we are here for the first round of the championship here at Bahrain. It's going to be a phenomenal race to watch. I'm joined by Breezy. I'm Broom Handle, joined by Breezy, of course. Breezy, we've seen qualifying starting to happen for some of these drivers. We're coming into the race as well. How do you see these drivers lining up for the first round of the championships? How are they going to cope with the pressure putting on that you got to get a good result, a good starting result, to continue that performance in the rest of the championship?
I'm looking forward to it. We'll have to see how they get about with lap 1, turn 1. We'll see how that goes. I think a lot of pressure is going to go into that initial first lap, really to try to make a position. But hopefully, they're able to kind of find that rhythm, not get into any altercations and lose any wings. We want to see some good racing, some good wheel-to-wheel racing, and hopefully that doesn't occur. I don't want to see a lot of drivers going into the pit, swapping out wings at the very start of the race. So I think the pressure is going to be heavy. It's always heavy for that first league race of the season. See what you're matching up against with your competition. So it's going to be phenomenal. The race strategy here is very difficult. You have the one-stop strategy one way or another. You could potentially go the 2-stop strategy, so the window is completely wide open on what you can do. But I would expect that the one-stop strategy here is going to be king.
Well, yeah, it definitely is going to be interesting for strategy. And as you said before, with drivers maybe not losing their wing, that's going to be something that you want to make sure to not do, because if you lose your wing, you're going to lose a lot of performance in your car, especially into certain sections where you have to have that wing for extra downforce and for just driving along in a normal pattern. For instance, turn 3 as well is a great is a spot where if you're coming out of that corner, don't make contact. Turn 10 as well, when you're coming down to that section, you want to make sure to have extra downforce, so you got to make sure to have that wing on there. But as you were saying before, the drivers have to be careful with exactly what part of the corners you want to go side by side in. You got to be very confident in what you're going to do, because there's a lot of these corners that you don't want to go side by side in, or if you can, it depends on the driver, of course. If you can do that, you got to be very careful from what you go for. A lot of drivers have made contact in the past in the real-time Formula 1 and the virtual world as well. So turn 1, very tight section, almost a hairpin of the track. That's a very tight section to go side by side into, especially at the race start, as well as turn 2, the following turns as well. And then, of course, the S10 section of turn 5, 6, and 7, and then, of course, that deep that deep turn of turn 9 and 10, and then, of course, the long turn of turn number 12, just coming up the hill there. So you gotta have some thinking into what you're going to be doing for going side by side. So you gotta be careful if you're going to be going side by side to not lose that front wing. For tire strategy, though, you mentioned that you were saying a 1-stop or 2-stop is possible. Do you think that these guys could possibly go for like a soft hards or maybe a soft mediums, maybe even starting in the medium tires then going to the hards? What's your verdict on that?
I would expect a soft to hard strategy from, I would say, 90% of the field on the softs. I think very few are going to go for the 2-stop strategy. I think that would be more of a situation where they would have wing damage and they might pick and choose a different strategy on the fly. So I would expect a soft to hard strategy pitting around lap 7 to lap 9 on the softs, go into the hard for the entirety of the rest of the race, or the medium runners to go to the hard sometime around lap 12.
Well, we'll definitely have to see how that plays out. I definitely think your strategy analysis is definitely correct. We'll have to see how that plays out for all these drivers. I have noticed something that does come into play. The driver itself does come into play when it comes to tire strategy, because we got to think about that. I mean, like, drivers, if they want to go for a 1-stop strategy, I suggest going for a conserving strategy, kind of conserving those tires, nursing those tires at the end or to a certain point in the race to pit. If you're going to go for that 2-stop strategy, that indicates that you want to push your tires as much as possible. That's something you want to probably do around here, because the tires mostly they degrade pretty fast, and it's a fast circuit as well, with slow speed corners as well. So I think you want to push as much as possible. We'll have to see how that turns out. But Breezy, right now qualifying with 5 minutes to go, who do you think is going to get pole position here today? We got a lot of strong drivers out here. A lot of drivers that have been testing in preseason testing. Of course, we had that preseason testing quite some time, so they had a lot of practice to kind of get used to their competitors, get used to the tracks they're going to be driving on and the cars they're going to be in. So do you think that preseason testing will play out in today's race? Do you think they'll have a little bit more? Do you think they'll have a little bit more of a basis of exactly what they're going to be driving around the circuit? Do you think these guys will have more competitiveness with knowing that they have this driver to worry about or this driver to not, kind of thing?
I'm not quite sure yet. I mostly have a data sheet to go off as far as most of these drivers go in silver. We've got a lot of new faces here. I've raced with a few of them, so I do have my eye on definitely the McLaren team, which, I am McLaren, so I mean, gotta have it in for the home team. So I do have a feeling that D-Swish and Lynn would be up there if they were going on the soft strategy. A lot of the top guys that I was expecting to be at the top of the timesheet for quality are currently all going for the medium tire strategy, and that would be D-Swish, Lynn Machine. We got F1 Racer, who was the champion in silver class last season, who would I expect to be up there, and Lazo is currently at the top of the timesheet. He is my 4th pick right now, who showed quite a bit of promise in one of the gold gold races where they were testing the drivers. He did pretty well. So I fully expect him to be at the top right now because all the other drivers are currently on the medium tire. However, I'm not really sure that that's the tire to go on for qualifying in this game. Last game, actually, that was the strategy that I was going to go with. The difference between the tires wasn't quite as drastic, but in this game, it's like a 1.3 second difference. You're potentially putting yourself outside the top 10, and then you're putting yourself in that position where you could easily pick up wing damage or battling for position. It still might be the best tire to be on, however, it's quite risky. So with the new overtake button in the game, it could be a lot more difficult to make a lot of those passes happen. So it'll be very interesting to see if that strategy is as strong as it would be in the last game. Maybe that answers your question.
It definitely does, and as you were saying, there's a little bit of difference between the 2019-2020 game. Are we going to see a difference with tire strategies, as you said, and also are we going to see a difference in what these drivers do? Of course, the F1 game has been out for about 2 months now. I do believe this is TCR's first time in 2020 racing as a whole. So do you think these drivers are going to have a little bit more pressure with a different sort of, because the thing is that they may be more used to the 2019 game in TCR, of course. TCR is now coming into 2020. Of course, the new game has come out officially now. And do you think these drivers are going to have a little bit more of a hard time dealing with the new game? Maybe that new overtake button is going to be a little bit maybe forgetting at some points that, like, oh yeah, it's there. But of course, we also had preseason testing. These drivers have been playing the F1 2020 game, I'm sure, for many days. So do you think that might be an issue or maybe something to look out for in the race to come?
I think you've already kind of answered your question. The preseason testing, we've done a lot of racing on this game in the last couple months. I think most people are going to have transitioned quite well into the 2020 game. Most of the quirks people are going to have figured out. So I don't think that'll be too much of an issue. I think ERS deployment is going to be an issue. I think people are going to have to get used to what the norm is. Are they going to burn through the ERS and just get overtaken? You know, like once you run pretty low, I mean, you're a sitting duck at that point. So it'll be interesting to see what some of these top guys are doing. Are they managing to maintain a level of ERS? So I think that's one of the difficulties that people are going to run into. The other is the dirty air. The dirty air effect in this game is a little bit more so. The whole DRS train, you can still do it. It's still effective. It's more difficult. You're going to find a lot of people spinning out on corners where they're going to be riding along the curbs, following somebody. I think you're going to see a lot of that going on in the race. So I think that's the difficulties that people are going to be running into in this game. It's going to be running on the tire for a long stint, battling somebody to the end, and it's going to get really tough when you start having to get into that high tire wear and you're running over curbing while following somebody. I think that's where the difficulty is going to be at.
Well, we'll definitely have to see how that works. It's going to be really interesting. I think these guys know what they're doing. As you said, we've had a lot of preseason testing to deal with, so a lot of these guys are going to have a little bit more practice in that. But it is something to definitely look out for, those tire strategies, those managing the tire, the overtake ERS system. Maybe we'll see some more overtaking because some drivers may be, oh no, I forgot, and so the driver behind will be like, there you go, kind of thing. Or maybe we'll have a little bit less overtaking. We'll have to see how that works. But let's quickly focus on the timing sheets at the moment. Pole position is looking really stressful to possibly get pole. Look at all these different drivers going up in those positions. We just had Rex in the Haas car. He just went first position with a 126.2. That's a pretty quick lap there. Lazo in the Alfa Romeo, the other Ferrari power team, just went second place. Or he's actually been in the first position for a while, but then Rex went that phenomenal lap to take pole position at the moment. F1 Racer, I was riding on board with him for quite a while. As you said, a champion as well. He's looking to get a good performance. Hard qualifying, it looks like right now. He's down in 8th position, still in the points positions at the moment. So we'll have to see how that goes for him but he just went 8th position on the soft tires. We also have drivers like D Swish, the two McLarens, D Swish and Blinn, Coleman as well, drivers like Weeb in the Mercedes as well. So some of these drivers going for the medium tire strategy as well. We'll have to see that plays out, but what are you expecting for this final part of qualifying? Do you think a few more guys can get pole position here?
Well, right now I'm following Blinn around last turn. Goes a little wide coming out of the last turn. Hoping to see him get up into the top 5.
And he goes 8th position, picks F1 Racer down. Very interesting.
So it does seem like all the top guys that were going on the medium tire did eventually switch over to the soft tire. I'm not, it seems like they changed up their strategy last minute. Whereas some of the other guys were able to get on that soft tire and really hammer in some laps and get used to it. Kind of shake off the butterflies. I think some of the guys that I was expecting to really make their way to the top of the sheet were having some struggles, and they're going to be starting pretty low. So it'll be interesting to see how they climb through the field, or if they have any difficulties managing to do that.
And you mentioning that they're climbing through the field, some of these fast guys are kind of further down the grid, so that is going to bring in some excellent overtakes, some great racing between some of these guys. So really looking forward to that. We'll have to see how that plays out, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these guys play out. Same TJ just coming across the line. Looks like he's the last to come across. Can he get pole or higher up? He stays 10th fastest, so it looks like it's Rex on pole position for the first round here in Season 10. And we also had Lazo, who stayed in 2nd position with the Red Bull of Steven in the Red Bull 3rd position, top 3. Renault also looking good with their 2 drivers, 4th and 5th. Do you think that they could get a good performance here today if they work as a team?
That could be difficult. So the team game, of course, you have to manage your pit stops differently. And as I said, it's already a very tough race going from the soft to hard. So one of them is going to kind of have to either go in a little later than the other driver and make that choice. Or you could try the double stack. However, there is a potential for kind of a time penalty as you're stuck waiting for your other driver to get out of the pit. So it could work out in their favor. It is interesting that they're both, 4th, 5th. So I think they definitely have a chance. And I just wanted to point out, we got a few people in our live chat commenting on how close the quality times are. I want to say first all the way up to 13th place are all within 1 second of each other. Very tight grid. So it's definitely we're gonna have a lot of tight racing.
Yeah, it's really looking to be a close race. As you were saying, the grid is so close. Look how close that is. It's almost about 13th. Yeah, look at that. It's so close to so many drivers. Look how close the first and second place drivers are. Rex just ahead of Lazo, who is just about a 10th away. Look how close that is. That's incredible. And then right behind is Steven in the Red Bull, who's just about a 10th behind him, and then that continues through the rest of the grid. And look at the Renaults too. The Renaults, what a close lap between both of those guys. Only a few 1,000ths of a second in between those guys. So really interesting. And of course, McLaren's D Swish in McLaren's medium tire there. He's ahead of that medium tire train there. So he's looking to get a good result in this race too. We'll have to see how that goes, but it's looking to be a promising race with pole position going to Rex. It's a lot of drivers looking really tight with that close timing sheets. We'll have to see how the race plays out here today.
So we also actually just had Nelsie Baby ask for our predictions. Do you happen to have a prediction for the racer?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of strong drivers out there. It's looking to be a great race. I think for me, Rex has showed that he's got the pace. So I'd say he's got maybe the win here today, but who knows? We'll have to see how that goes. Knowing a lot of these drivers, a few of them I know, there's going to be some good performances out there today. Lazo looked quick as well, so I'm going to say maybe he stays in that 2nd position. Also, Steven looking really good as well. Maybe one of the Renaults gets up there, but I'm going to say maybe Rex in 1st, then I'll go with Lazo, and then honestly, I'd say F1 Racer to get 3rd, because I know he's got the pace. I raced with him in CSR, and I was always like, whoa, this guy's just super fast. He's just flying past. So I know him, and of course he's a proven champion as well in silver class. So showing he's got the pace. I'd say he's possibly got a 3rd position, but my prediction Who knows what's going to happen with that? It's going to be a phenomenal race with so many drivers mixing up the field. We could see some massive crashes. We could see some drivers just maintain their performance. We'll have to see how that goes, but that's my prediction. What's yours, Breezy? You have a prediction for the race ending?
Yes, to do. So, just going off of preseason testing, Lazo really impressed me. Like I said, I think he's actually going to pull out the win. I think if some of the other drivers that I was watching out for had qualified higher or had made it into the top 10 on those medium tires, they could maybe steal it from him. And it's still possible in those last few laps that some of the medium runners are going to catch up. But however, my second place is going to be D-Swish. I think that those medium tires, even though he's in 12th, he's going to start on a fresh set of mediums. He's probably going to sit back, make a few passes through the soft first stint. However, after they pit lap 7, lap 8, around that time frame, he's going to stay out doing faster lap times than them for the next 4 or 5 laps, come out with a very fresh set of hard tires, and I think that's going to give him a big advantage. I think he's going to podium. We'll say 3rd place for D-Swish. And then for my 3rd place, I think we'll give it to Rex.
I think that's a pretty good prediction. I really think that could come true. We'll have to see how that works here today. I definitely think that either one of our predictions could end up there. We'll have to see how that works out. I'm going to quickly do a rundown of the grid. So for the first round of the championship here at Season 10 at TCR for Silver Class, we got Rex on pole position, lining up alongside the other Ferrari-powered, different team though, Alfa Romeo team of Lazo 11 in 2nd position. Steven in the Red Bull lines alongside in the 2nd row of the grid of the first of the Renaults of Bamboo in 4th position. The 2nd Renault in 5th position. Those two Renaults looking really strong. Dorian Alpha in the Renault car, he's lining up alongside Motor City in the 2nd Alfa Romeo car. So the Alpha is looking strong as well as they're sitting 5th and 6th on the grid. Shukadi in the Williams looking really strong with the Williams car in 7th position. He's got Blue Machine in the McLaren lining up alongside him on the 4th row of the grid. F1 Racer looking really strong as well. He's on the 5th row of the grid for Racing Point in 9th position. He's got same TJ in the Ferrari starting 10th position. We got Fire Up Flow starting up the medium tire pack there. He's starting with 11th position with John in the Haas cars in 12th position. We got the Swish 11 in the 2nd McLaren car. As you're saying, if you can get a good podium here today, we'll have to see how that works for him. He's starting 13th alongside Coleman in the Williams. Then we got AlphaTauri's Jen in the AlphaTauri car, lining up alongside Got Any Weeb in the Mercedes car in 16th position. Robin Hood Lawyer in 17th for the other AlphaTauri, lines up on the medium tire, with Turfu in the Racing Point car, lining up the 18 drivers for today's grid. It looks like it's going to be a phenomenal race here today. For round number 1, it's going to be lights out, and away we go. Here at the Bahrain International Circuit, Rex on pole, and it's lights out, and away we go. Here we go for this race, and there's a major glitch. What's happened? Oh, there we go. Okay, lights out, and away we go. There was a major glitch there, but we are lights out and away we go. Look at all the drivers, almost 5 wide into turn 1 there. It looks like Rex got a great start off of that. The 2 Alfa Romeos, there's a Haas going off the grass, and there's a major contact. Lots of drivers going off there. There's some drivers going on the top. What a crazy start to this Grand Prix. Motor City already up to 3rd. F1 Racer up to 5th. What a crazy start. Did you see anything that happened at that start of the race? But yeah, what did you see exactly happen at that start of the race? I saw a few drivers going off at the top. Was that a glitch? Or did I see correctly?
No, I think that was that was the pileup of the season, starting it off. It seemed someone came down the inside, and I swear I saw another car on top of another car. So I think we're going to see quite a few cars coming into the pit with some wing damage. So right now I'm actually just checking the grid to see who currently has the wing damage.
I'm looking through some of these guys. They're all making up some positions. We had that delayed start as well. That was a massive glitch. I haven't seen that before, though. But that compromised a lot of the start. Motor City, I want to talk about him for a second, and the Williams driver right behind him, Shukadi in the Williams. These two drivers moving up the table. Oh, and that's Motor City off the track. I was just talking about him. He's down to 6th. He's going to lose a lot of position going off at turn 12. Alfa Romeo had a horrible start. His teammate as well, we didn't mention Lazo, has also moved down a ton of positions. What a chaotic start to this Grand Prix, and they're all having to avoid him as well. And look at this, a battle between the 7th position, 8th position between the Renault-powered cars. There's also an AlphaTauri moving down the field as well. Pit position for Shuka V. A lot of drivers moving down positions. I was talking about F1 Racer could get a podium here. He's in 2nd place at the moment. This is incredible. What a great start to this Grand Prix. There's so many drivers moving up positions. Look at this, Blind looking for a move. Oh, it's so tight. A little bit of contact. The McLaren and the Renault go side by side. Can Blind get past? He's side by side with the Renault and so close that it looks like he might have get past, but here comes Dorian Alpha around the outside, maintains that position, and it looks like he's got back into 7th. So Breezy, how's the start been for you? We've had a lot of drivers moving up and down the grid. Do you think it's going to be a race like this continuing on?
Yeah, it was a crazy start. I was having a hard time keeping up. Quite a few drivers had wing damage. Quite a few went into the pit. Also wanted to point out just the position changes. We got F1 Racer moving up 7 positions.
I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but same TJ just spun. I was riding on board with him. Now he's down to 10th. Sorry to interrupt you there, but he was running up in like 4th or 5th. You were talking about position changes. This has really hurt his race.
Yes, so yeah, just pointing out some of these drivers, we also got Fire Up Flow that moved up 7 positions on the medium tire as well. This is going to change everything. Anybody at the front on the soft tire is going to be at a huge disadvantage to any of the medium runners that are getting these massive position changes.
And you were talking about Fire Up Flow. He's on those medium tires. He's in 4th place. If he doesn't make mistakes, he continues this on, he has actually a good chance of possibly even winning this Grand Prix. So he's looking to be really strong in this race. We'll have to see how that goes. But I want to quickly talk about, did you notice that the Alfa Romeos had a very hard start at this Grand Prix? Motor City actually had a good start, but then at turn 12 spun the car. So both Alphas moving down a lot of positions. And also a lot of drivers in the pits. What's your analysis on all of that?
So turn 12, notoriously, especially with dirty air, if you're running like a high rich fuel through that sector and you turn just a little bit too much or you catch that inside curb, either of those two things happen and you're going to lose the car. It's very easy to do at that location. It's just so many G-forces put on those tires, and also depending on how much anti-roll bar you're putting on the car, all of those things play a huge part.
I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but again, at the same corner, Steven just spun. At the same place that same TJ spun. I think there was contact with F1 Racer and Steven there.
Yeah, that actually looked like that was turn 11. That was turn 11, not turn 12. But yeah, it does look like contact actually occurred.
There was Robin Hood L'Oreal going off the track as well. So sorry to keep on interrupting you there, Breezy. There's just so many drivers going off track.
No, there's just a lot of good battling going on right now.
There definitely is. Look at the Alfa Romeo.
One battle you should pay attention to is, yeah, the Alfa Romeo. Watch that battle right now.
Look at this. Yeah, the Alfa Romeo is looking for a move. Actually, they're in the Mercedes right there is in an Alfa Romeo sandwich. And they both go wide. I'm right on board with Motor City. Both Alphas, we were talking about that. They moved down quite a position. Now looking to get back up in the package. They're both looking for some good points. But the Mercedes looking to stop that. That's got any weed in the Mercedes car. He's looking to get ahead of Lazo there. So we'll have to see how that plays out for him. But yeah, what a chaotic start to these first 4 laps. And yeah, hopefully it's going to be a continuous race like this for the rest of the laps. And also the battle between the 2 Renault-powered teams has continued on. You were talking about early on with your prediction that D Swish was looking set for a good podium. He's up in 7th position and battling away with his teammate who's just ahead of him. Do you think that prediction is still possible for D Swish here today?
I do. However, he does have to be careful. I actually just witnessed, so we do have regular corner cutting going on in this session, just due to the way the game is currently played. We have given plenty of warnings out to drivers about the track limits and what they can and cannot do. And I actually just happened to watch D Swish cutting over turn 10 quite harshly, so he's got to be really careful about doing stuff like that. But he is in a great position, as well as Fire Up Flow, to take a really good position at this race, possibly winning or podium, is what I would expect from those two.
And Fire Up Flow was in the podium, and oh, he's lost it! He's lost it! There's contact too! He's lost it! Oh no, that's very unfortunate. Fire and Flow was on the podium. He made contact with Dorian there. Oh my goodness, that was crazy. And look at this, he's just slotted right behind his teammate there. Now it's a double Mercedes sandwich for the two Alfa
Dorian
Romeos.
also lost his wing during that as well. He's missing the whole end plate.
I don't think that was his fault either. And Breezy, what would you say? You were talking about corner cutting around here. You said that D-Swish cut a few corners. Do you say that maybe that's something that you shouldn't do? I think I definitely think you shouldn't do that, because the thing is that you don't want to cut these corners and get penalties. Do you think these drivers are going to do that? Maybe they don't know that you could get penalties. I think they do know that, but what's your thoughts on all that?
So, like I said, sorry, I'm actually watching the battle right now with D-Swish. D-Swish actually just made a very nice clean pass around the outside of turn 12 and turn 13 around Dorian Alpha, following his partner Blend Machine. But anyways, yeah, just going back to what I was saying about the regular track limits right now. So a lot of these drivers are getting used to these new track limits. You're not going to be getting a whole lot of warnings from the game. However, the league itself has taken the time to set up a video to explain track limits, what you can and cannot do. And one of the turns that we were a bit worried about was cutting turn 10 and the likes of turn 2, which you can gain quite a bit of time from by doing that. The whole goal behind this was so that drivers aren't losing or winning the race based off of penalties. You should be able to drive the track the way the real F1 drivers drive, not sitting there worrying about, like I was driving on the white line and happened to get a warning and a warning and a warning. That's kind of, we want to get away from that a little bit. However, we don't want drivers taking advantage of this. So we actually have quite a few people watching this. The drivers are going to be watching, and if people are taking advantage too much, there is going to be some very harsh penalties by the Stewart team.
Well, yeah, I definitely have to mention the corner cutting as well. I mean, like you said, there's going to be a lot of, if these drivers do cut the corners, there will be stewards that can take a look at that and they can hand out penalties and stuff like that. And honestly, I have to mention something about the game itself. Unfortunately, the strict corner cutting is too strict on my part. It's not accurate at all, unfortunately, in my opinion. The regular corner cutting feels a little bit better, but unfortunately you can't get a very big advantage out of that. So we'll have to see how that plays out for some of these drivers. But I mean, yeah, in my opinion, I feel that regular is a better alternative than the strict corner cutting. We'll have to see how that goes. But going back into the race, though, Rex just pit in the Haas car. He was leading this entire race. He's now going in the hard tires, a softs to a hards. Is that a good strategy? You think he can take those hards to the end of the race?
He most definitely can take it to the end of the race. However, at the end of the race, pitting at the end of lap 6, he is going to be dealing with some very slick hard tires. They're going to be very difficult to manage. It's quite an undercut, and just wanted to see where he actually came out. He actually did come out into a little bit of traffic as well. He is right behind the likes of Steven, so that's not helping him at all. Came out, kind of got the undercut, but it's not really helping him. He's losing some time on that. And after he does get around him, he actually has a pile of cars about 7 seconds ahead of that. If he manages to catch up to him, where he's going to be stuck in that traffic as well. So I don't know if that was the smartest move on his part. He had quite a huge gap behind him that he could have just managed his tires. And but we'll see how it plays out. He's currently battling quite hard with Steven through Sector 3 and not managing to pass him. So this is definitely hurting his race.
Yeah, he's got to get past as soon as possible. Actually looked like he might do it right now. He's getting so close with the pressure tires as well. Hard tires versus those used softs. They're going to go side by side. Oh my goodness. Don't make contact, guys. And wow, what a move by Rex there. He just goes around the outside and makes the move. But Steven, he's now looking to get back past him now. He's got the DRS. I did want to mention F1 Racer and Motor City and Fire Up Flow all went into the pits. They're very interesting. But look at this. Steve now looking to get back past on those slower soft tires. Locked up a little bit, side by side, so close to making contact, but they don't. And they're very close into turn 2 and 3. A little bit of a wide corner by Rex there, but no penalty taken. I don't think there's anything he can do further on. It's just a little bit of a cut there, but looks like he gets past, actually. The Rex gets past Steven there in the Red Bull. So with the fresher tires, the Haas just gets past quite easily. F1 Racer did come out into the pits. Did come out of the pits. Now he's emerged in 8th position, closing up to that battle. And that battle that Rex and Steven were battling with has now allowed F1 Racer to kind of close up a little bit and get past. So we'll have to see how that plays out with all these guys. If F1 Racer can get past Rex, or they battle away to possibly get that position. We'll have to see how that works out. Bamboo still leads this race now. He's actually inherited the race lead from the drivers behind the McLaren, second and third in this race. So tire strategy now coming to play now.
Yeah, F1 Racer being, it looks like the first one to commit to a possible two-stop strategy. I'll definitely want to be watching that to see. That's one thing that I didn't really test to see if that was a viable option. Just knowledge from last year's game, it really wasn't in that game, so it'll be interesting to see if it is any better in this one. And at the moment, looks like we got Blend Machine in the pit, coming out on the medium tire as well. So it looked like he is also committing to the two-stop strategy. Quite a few people are committing into the two-stop.
I definitely think two-stop could work here. We also got the Mercedes and the Red Bull in the pits as well. So Red Bull and Mercedes both coming into the pits. So both of their drivers coming out on different tire strategies. Well, actually, all three of those drivers came out on different tires. Blaine on the mediums, Gardner Weed came out on the softs, and Steven came out on the hard. So interesting strategy. Who do you say, out of those three, who do you say is the best strategy for going to the end? What's your thoughts on that? My opinion is Steven, but what's your opinion, Breezy?
I think everybody on the hard tire currently right now is going to have a relatively easy race to the end. As long as they're not locking up consistently through every turn, they should be relatively okay. I really don't think the two-stop strategy is going to be very good, and I think anybody who pit on the hard tire too early, like the likes of Rex, are going to have some difficulties. They're really going to be hitting some high tire wear situations near the end, and it's really going to hurt. However, the driver that I think has the best position right now is actually D-Swish. He is in second place, 9 laps on those medium tires, fresh air for at least the next 3 to 4 laps until he chooses to come in for that hard tire, and I think he's going to be in a great position. He's currently 13.3 seconds ahead of Rex. The pit delta is somewhere in between 23 to 25 seconds, so he does have some time that he's going to have to make up, but those fresh tires are going to really do dividends near the end of the race, so it's my prediction.
I definitely think your prediction is correct, because I mean, like, D-Swish in the second place car, you were mentioning him, medium tires, and those medium tires are 9 laps old, so he hasn't pit yet. He's got the pace. Just up ahead of him is Bamboo on the softs. He's going to have to pit. D-Swish is looking for a great result in this race. Definitely a podium, even possible. He's also got to think about his teammate as well. Blinn is in provisional third, I do believe. But we'll have to see if these two top first and second position will come ahead. I'm surprised Bamboo has not pit. Now he's pitting, actually, so great timing from me. But now D-Swish takes over the lead, which is interesting. So Bamboo coming into the pits for Renault.
I agree.
Yeah,
because his partner actually came in quite a few laps earlier. There really was no reason for him to stay out, 10 laps on the soft tire. That's quite long. I mean, that is some really good tire management to not lose the car. However, you do lose a lot of time forcing him to that race distance. So maybe his setup on the car can be, not quite as harsh on the tires, and that allowed him to casually make his way around the track and manage those tires. So he's definitely going to have the freshest hards at the end for all the soft runners. So I think he's also set up for a very nice podium at the end.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to find out. I'm really thinking that he could get a good podium, a good result, at least here today for the round one. It's definitely crucial to get a good result at the first race. Because I mean, like when you start off a challenge, you continue with that challenge and continue for quite some time. So we'll have to see how that works. But yeah, really looking forward to a great strategy call from all the drivers that we've been mentioning so far. So we'll have to see how that works for all our drivers here today. But I quickly wanted to mention Alfa Romeo's pair, Motor City 2000. He was involved in that turn 12 incident. The Alfa Romeo driver, 6th position now. That's looking really good. His teammate, who I'm riding on board with now, looking to actually get past the Mercedes of Fire Up Flow. He's also looking for a great result in this race. And they're both on about the same amount of tire grip for the hard tires, so they're looking for a good strategy as well to rise up the field and get past some of these guys that are on gonna be older tires. But the two Mercedes in particular, they're on the soft tires. They're gonna have to pit again, but they will be on fresher tires now and probably then than the two Alfa Romeos behind and ahead of them. So we'll have to see how that works. We do want to mention the driver in between this battle that I was talking about, the Williams right here of Shokadi, looking to get ahead of these guys. He's waiting for this battle to continue out. The Mercedes versus the Alfa Romeo. This Mercedes versus the Alfa Romeo battle has continued on for quite a while in this race, and I'm sure will continue for the rest of this race here today. We'll have to see how that works, though.
Yeah, I'm actually watching Motor City trying to make this pass, and it's quite interesting that the soft runners are having such a difficult time around this track. They're both being hunted down by the hard tires. However, Motor City does have minimal ERS usage. I think he only has 15% ERS at the moment, so I think he probably needs to keep his head down. Let the driver in front of him, who's on a completely different tire strategy, allow him a little bit of space. I think that's probably the best choice for him. He's going to have to pit again. It's really not who he's racing against. It's only slowing him down to really battle with him, and he needs to save that ERS. If he burns all of that away, he's losing considerable pace over many laps. So I think that's what I was talking about at the beginning of the race. Just people managing that in this game is quite a bit different than last game.
And I'm sorry, I just wanted to mention something real quick. This is completely off topic, what Breezy was setting. I just wanted to quickly mention, sorry guys for watching if I'm moving a little too fast with trying to move up and down the field to different positions. I just want to get to these guys as fast as possible so we can see these battles playing out. I did want to mention D-Switch actually did come into the pit, so he's actually behind his teammate, Blinn. That's going to be interesting. We did have also a Ferrari spin as well. I do believe that was same TJ. But yeah, we'll have to see how that goes.
So the only close battle on track right now is actually between 8th, 7th, and 6th place. Very different tire strategies for all three of them. We got, I can't really say his name.
I think it's Shokadi.
Yeah. Shokadi is currently on some 10-lap old hards. We got Motor City in front of him on 4-lap hards. And I just can't say his name, Weeb, on 3-lap old softs that is just struggling to find the pace and starting to build a small train behind him that is gonna have 5 cars behind him here pretty soon.
And a great battle potentially as well, because I mean he's building up that train, as you said, and the two drivers behind him are Fire Up Flow and Lazo. They're two Mercedes and Alfa Romeo teams looking to battle A with this one Williams. So look at this. Two Mercedes lead, they're in 6th and 9th, two Alfa Romeos 7th and 10th, and one Williams right in the middle of that kind of pack there. This battle is going to continue on, I think, with all these guys, but different tire strategies as well. The two Alphas on fresh hards. Shokadi on those hard tires that are going to last him for the end of the race. I think he's going to have to pit for that soft tires. We'll have to see how that plays out. And of course the two Mercedes on soft tires, which won't last them for that long. So this battle might not end up, this battle will probably dissipate by quite some time when it comes to the tire strategy points for some of these guys. We'll have to see how that goes. It'll probably be the Mercedes or the Williams that will pit when that comes in. We'll have to see how that goes. The two McLarens, though, I want to mention them, the two teammates of Blinn and D-Swish, battling away. We got to mention D-Swish. He's on those hard tires that are looking pretty good. He's looking to get ahead of Blinn. And I did want to mention something. I do believe Jen just got a drive-through or possibly a 5-second penalty. I think he got a 5-second penalty for speeding the pit lane. Did you see exactly what happened there? And also, what's your verdict on the two McLarens battling out? Do you think one of them will swap positions?
Actually, if I were the bet man, they're probably coordinating this quite well. You got D-Swish behind him on a completely different tire strategy and race strategy altogether. He can really just save his ERS and stick with the pace of that medium tire, and he can gain time off that. He's not that far behind as far as when the medium tire runners go in for their pit behind the lead. So if he can use that to his advantage, I could see him using that to make his way back up to Rex.
Well, we'll definitely have to see how that goes. I mean, like, he's in a position to possibly get a podium or even the win here as well. And if Blinn and D-Swish, if they coordinate that well, they should be able to continue on. The battle behind, though, that might catch up to these guys if they are losing a little time, because the guys behind are on fresher tires, but they are battling away with each other, so that might hold them up as well. So hopefully the McLarens can continue their pace and continue that gap to the car behind. But speaking of those cars behind, that battle's continued on, and there's so many drivers going at it. I think the most notable race right now is Shoko D in the Williams car. Apologies if I'm saying your name right. I'm sorry about that. He's right behind Motor City 2000 in the Alfa Romeo car, just ahead. So that battle will continue on, and I'm really looking forward to seeing if the Williams can get past the Alfa, or if the Alfa can defend well against the Williams.
I did look up Jen, and yes, he did take a 5-second penalty going into the pit. So that is one penalty that's still going to stick, even though regular corner cutting, because it has nothing to do with cutting the track. That is a very real penalty at this track. But outside of him, I don't believe I've seen anybody else taking in penalties. As we see Shokadi actually passing Motor City into turn 1. Can he make it stick, though? Around the outside, and I think he made it happen.
He did make it happen. Yeah, that Williams did pass the Alfa Romeo. And that was a good move as well. So, oh, look at this. Look at this, Motor City looking for the move. He goes for a dive down the inside at turn 4. They're still side by side, but it looks like he can't make the move quite yet. So very interesting. I did want to mention that D-Swish actually did get past Blinn, so maybe a little bit of Team Orders there. It looks like it was a pretty easy move for D-Swish. He did make the move under the DRS straight on the pit straight. So that was a pretty easy move. Now he can start chasing after the cars ahead, which is Bamboo. He's just about a second behind, so that battle will continue on for quite some time. We'll have to see how that goes. Steven actually just is going side by side with the Haas car, I do believe, of John, the other Haas. It looks like the Red Bull will just get ahead, so a little bit of battle for the back of the field there. We'll have to see how that plays out for all these guys.
So I think I'm actually going to do some quick calculations and try to come up with a potential of when D-Swish might catch Rex, or if he will even potentially catch Rex. So give me a few minutes.
All right, no worries. Yeah, we want to know that gap, because I mean, you never know. Could D-Swish actually overtake Rex and get the win? So we'll give Breezy a few seconds. I actually want to bring in a quick little monologue, or not a monologue, but a new idea that I bring into these commentary while we have a quick break. So I try to bring this in whenever there's like no overtakes going on, no exciting action. Of course, there is exciting action right now to think about, but right now I kind of found a place to kind of talk about this. So it's called History Dudes. Name's not perfect, but one's bringing it in. I just quickly mention a few history about this track itself. So just want to quickly mention that real quick. Of course, Bahrain, first race 2004. Michael Schumacher winning the first one. Ferrari have a lot of success around the Bahrain International Circuit. Of course, he won that race in 2004, and he's won a lot. But the most victorious driver around here was Sebastian Vettel with 4 wins here to date. Of course, 2, I do believe, came with Red Bull, 2 with Ferrari. Actually, I think I might be mistaken. That might be 3. Oh, no, it's actually 2. Sorry. that was a little bit of a mistake for myself, but Vettel does have the most wins for a round here with 4 to his name. Ferrari, actually, who was Michael Schumacher's team for quite a while, and of course, most famously, Michael Schumacher had the Ferrari car. They have 6 wins. That's the most for any team for a round here. Of course, the lap record set by Charles Leclerc in 2019, I do believe, by a 1:33.411 in the Scuderia Ferrari car. So Ferrari have paced around here. They've shown in the past they have almost won every single race. Leclerc could have won that 2019 Grand Prix, but unfortunately, he retired, or not retired, but he came home for his first podium in the season. So, unfortunately, he had a problem at about turn 11. And had to pull back. The Mercedes drivers eventually overtake him, and a safety car, I do believe, came out because of the double disaster for the 2 Renaults to the same corner. And Leclerc actually was saved by that because Max Verstappen could have overtaken him, and Leclerc would have not gotten his first podium. But he eventually took the first position. It looks like there was an AlphaTauri just went off there. I thought that was a driver, but yeah, that is not. But I just want to quickly mention, yeah, a lot of stuff has happened here, and actually Bahrain has hosted a lot of season openers, so it's not the first in real-time Formula 1. Virtual World, right here we have our first round in 2010, features a longer route of this circuit, adding in more circuits, more turns, quite a lot more turns. So yeah, it was a little bit of a different sort of race. Of course, Fernando Alonso winning that first race for Ferrari in 2010. And then, of course, that was round 1. Then it continued on in Australia for round number 2. So it held that first race in 2010. I do believe 2011 didn't even host a Grand Prix, and I do believe 2020 won't host a Grand Prix due to the COVID pandemic. So quick little history there, but I want to quickly bring it back to the race here. Just wanted to mention that little history lesson there. There was, I got a little bit confused because there was some drivers going off at the parts where the race leaders were, but it's actually drivers being lapped there. So Robin Hood Lawyer having a very good time out there. Topher as well in the Racing Point car also having a hard time out there. Hopefully they continue on though. Williams driver Coleman into the pits for Williams, and we also have to mention the battle for the lead is looking really strong between D-Swish, Bamboo, and F1 Racer. So this is continuing on. Breezy, have you joined us back? Did you see? Did you make your calculations on exactly what D-Swish, what if you could possibly catch up to Rex there in the Haas?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I think his strategy worked out quite well. Unfortunately, it's F1 Racer that's actually holding him up. F1 Racer is starting to struggle quite a bit on those medium tires, and the dirty air that D-Swish is starting to get off the back of Bam has really slowed him down. I mean, he probably could have caught Rex if it was just him and Rex on track within about 5 laps. However, his pace drastically slowed down as soon as he caught up to the back of Bam. So I'm not seeing it being likely that he'll catch him by the end. Not unless Rex starts losing about a second a lap near the end, which is possible because he did pit on lap 6. So my prediction is he doesn't catch him.
Well, I think that could possibly happen. I mean, like, it's the logical course of action is that D-Swish cannot catch Rex, and I definitely think that could happen. That's probably the most logical answer. But something that's interesting, and I've actually noticed this, and I want to quickly just tell you guys something real quick. I remember I was watching a race at, I do believe it was Mushroom Cup, and they had this race, and they had a driver leading the entire race, and was a Renault, I do believe. And on the final corner, he crashed out of the race from the lead and didn't win that race. So unpredictability happens. I just did a commentary as well at KRL. 2 different drivers were battling for the lead of the race. On the final lap, a driver overtook that other driver to take the win. Unfortunately, he had a penalty, so he actually did finish second in that race. But it just shows, what I'm trying to say is, unpredictability is something that could definitely happen, especially around Bahrain. We've seen it happen in real Grand Prix. I've also had experience with the commentary as well, watching some drivers do that, as I mentioned in Mushroom Cup, as I've mentioned in KRL as well. So differences is a big place. I think F1 Racer is heading into the pits now on mediums, 12 level medium tires for F1 Racer. Very interesting. Do you think that was the right course of action, Breeze? Do you think that was the right course of action for Racing Point to pit F1 Racer for a new set of soft tires as it's going on?
Yeah, I mean, he had to do the two-stop, so that was part of his strategy. I think he held up quite a bit of the competition that he's going to be trying to race to catch back up to. However, I just don't think the two-stop was the right call. He might make up one position, potentially catch up to Motor City later on, but I really just don't think the two-stop was a good call overall. So they did release BAM in D-Swish. So we'll start to see if they're able to catch up to Rex. However, like I said, I really don't see that happening. Yeah.
Well, I think that D-Swish and Bamboo, I think actually what's probably going to happen, and I think you know this too, like you're saying, I don't think, and I don't think as well, that they can catch up to Rex, but you never know. But I think the more likely scenario is that they're going to battle it out for second place and see who gets ahead. Of course, both powered by Renault engines, McLaren and Renault. Of course, McLaren will be moving to Mercedes in 2021. We'll have to see how that works out. I'm really looking forward to that in the real and the game. But the two powered Renault cars looking to battle it out, or maybe trade positions, maybe a different course of action. We'll have to see how that goes. And we also have to kind of blend. Oh, actually, never mind. I was gonna say there was an opportunity for him to possibly get second and third. He's now pitting. There's still an opportunity for him to get second or third, but he's gonna lose a lot of positions here. So he's going on the soft tires and should potentially catch up to some of these guys. I think he'll emerge down in 7th place though. So we'll have to see how that goes. But F1 Racer, you said he could probably catch up to Lazo and Motor City. That would be a good result. I think he is actually closed up to Lazo here, and probably Motor City quite soon as well. We'll have to see how that works out. But even 4th place for F1 Racer, I think that would be a dominant result for him. We'll have to see how that goes. The battle for 8th position. Yeah. Look at this. And 9th as well.
So just wanted to point out while you were talking about that.
Of course.
Steven actually ended up crashing into the wall. He lost his 8th position. Crashed into the wall and actually had to go in the pit, get a new wing, and slap on a set of softs. So, just pointing out what happened to him. He was actually doing quite well up in 8th place before that happened.
And did he make contact by himself, or was that contact with another driver?
No, he got up on the curb coming out of turn 10 on his own.
Yeah.
Just kind of lost it, yeah.
That kind of happens at that turn as well. I mean, like I was saying that, and you were saying as well, turn 10 is a very dangerous corner, and especially you got to brake and shift down as much as possible, and you can lose it when you come on the power too early. So it's understandable. So unfortunately, Steven, I'm not having the best of the last few laps of this race, but he's down in 14th. Points could still happen if that train up there, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, if that crashes, that could play into Steven's hands. We'll have to see how that goes. Speaking of that train, though, look at the battle we're having here for the last few positions. This is absolutely incredible. It's now turned mostly into 9th, 10th, and 11th. We'll have to see how that goes. The battle between 2nd and 3rd is continuing on as well, so we have some major battles going on.
Yep, there's a really good battle going on there, as well as D-Swish right behind Bam Bam. Or, I'm not saying that right. It's not Bam Bam.
No worries.
The Golden Class driver, Bam Bam.
Yes, I do know of him as well,
wow.
yeah.
Dorian just cut turn 2 quite a bit.
Yep, I saw that too. Yeah, he did cut turn 2, I do believe that was. Yep. Do you think that could result in a penalty for him?
So the way it works right now is footage will be requested by some of the drivers that are obviously cutting quite a bit of corners in the stream as well. We got a few people actually watching some of these drivers. So they'll submit their footage, and if they have 3 corner cuts to against the rules of what we made in the video, as well we've publicized quite a bit, and they weren't forced off track by another driver because of battling, that's when penalties are going to be looked at. So,
well, thank you for explaining that, Breezy. I mean, we definitely need to know that, because then that's how we can determine exactly how these penalties are served out. But yeah, I want to quickly focus back on the battle for 2nd, and I'm not ignoring the fact that the conversation we're having with Breezy and me. So I just wanted to quickly mention, though, the battle for 2nd and 3rd is continuing on, and also the battle for 8th and 9th is continuing on. So it's really looking good for these two battles to continue on. But yeah, for penalties, we'll have to see how that plays out with the stewards, what their prediction is, and how they look at the footage and all that sort of thing of our footage and the driver's footage as well, and also the drivers are watching the stream. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes.
Oh,
and hello to all those drivers. Sorry.
Sorry, just wanted to point something out. One of our stewards that's currently watching the race actually put in a nice, good message in the chat. If they lift after going off the track because of a mistake, that's also looked into as, okay, you didn't gain time. So that would not be an issue. So
that's a good point. That's a good point to point out. I mean, like, if the driver knows they made the mistake, then definitely lift. That's the most, that's the best thing to do, and especially because, I mean, like, you know you don't want to cut that corner to gain an advantage. So if they know to lift, if they lift the gas pedal off, you know, then that's a sign of possibly of a no penalty situation. But if they do continue on, is that a penalty? Explaining to the fans, how do you think of that?
Yeah, so again, if they're constantly cutting corners, like say turn 2, just really cutting the inside of turn 2, and they're never lifting, if you do that 3 times consistently, that would be a penalty.
Well, good to know. Thank you so much for explaining that. Yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out for all these drivers here today. Speaking of here today, the race is almost over. How much time has flown by? Lap 25 now. It's been a phenomenal race, but it's clearly not over. Look at this. We still have many drivers making positions. The 2 Mercedes battling out. So a 2014 situation possibly here. Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton, of course, that's who I'm talking about. In 2014, they made constant overtakes on each other. Is this continuing on for quite some time? Look at this. The 2 Mercedes are looking to replicate that battle that they had in 2014 here today with 2 different drivers. It looks like Any Weave in the Mercedes looking to get past his teammate here. Fire Up Flow. We'll have to see how that battle continues. And the battle between D-Swish and Bamboo has kind of lessened quite a bit. They've kind of grown a gap between each other. And I did want to mention F1 Racer did set the fastest lap of the race and has now closed up to Motor City. So I'm looking for a strong 4th place if he can do this. So with only about 3 laps to go, Breezy, how would you say this race has turned out for all our drivers here today? And what's your thoughts on going into the next race as well? If you actually do see F1 Racer overtaking Motor City here.
I think drivers are going to have to get back into the rhythm of just really paying attention in lap 1, turn 1. Outside of that, it's been a phenomenal race. Nobody's DNF'd out of the race. It's actually been very solid. A lot of close battling. Yeah, I mean, it's really all we can ask for. A race that wasn't completely dependent upon penalties for the win. So, a lot of good action. Yeah, very enjoyable.
Yeah, it's been a good race here today. I mean, round 1 here today of the championship will continue on for round 2, of course, which will just be, I do believe, on Tuesday. And I do believe that will be at the Chinese Grand Prix, if I'm not mistaken. I think it might be Chinese Grand Prix or it might be Vietnam, but I do believe
it is China.
It is China. Okay, want to make sure there. Yep. But yeah, we'll continue on with the Chinese Grand Prix next time out for round number 2. But round number 1 been a phenomenal race, but it's clearly not over though because we still have a lot of battles actually. The 2 Mercedes still carrying on. And I do believe that Williams drivers continued on in 8th position. And Alfa Romeo, they had a hard start to this Grand Prix with some drivers, a lot of those drivers moving down positions with that delayed start there. But they've moved up into some good positions, so showing that the drivers have the pace to continue on. And that also shows as well that they're great drivers as well. I mean, Lazo had a hard race, I want to say, here today with having a lot of moving down the field. But now it's shown that he has the pace to move up the field and get back up into 7th position now. So it's really been a great race for the 2 Alphas here today.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, as we get towards these closing laps, I'm just going to be watching Rex, just really paying attention to how he's managing to go around some of these corners and really just manage his tires to the end because he has the gap for the most part. As long as no big egregious things happen, he should pull out the win here and just manage those tires to the end, because they are definitely up there. They're probably in the mid 70% at the moment, coming to these closing stages. So, bar no tire punctures, looking like Rex is going to pull out the win, followed closely behind by D-Swish in second place, and Bam closing it up in third is what it's looking like it's going to be. So if we got anybody in the chat that wants to, start thinking about asking any questions to the top finishers, please post those in the chat.
Yeah, definitely let us know. So comment below if you have any questions. We can get some interviews coming in here at quite the end of the race as well. So please let us know in the comments below. So thanks. But yeah, I want to quickly mention, look at this. Blinn has catched up to Motor City and has now got past. Wow. What a great move that was. And the soft compounds driver, I mean, McLaren have really put their faith in both those drivers here today. They're now top 5. So he's running the soft compound, and he's looking for a really good position to finish in this race. He's now got past Motor City. Can he get past F1 Racer? I do not think so. There's 2 laps to go. They both have the similar tire wear, so but you never know. As I said, last lap uncertainty can happen at the last few laps of this Grand Prix. We'll have to see how that plays out, though.
One thing that's interesting right now, Shokadi is currently on a relatively new set of softs, and same TJ was actually in front of him for quite a while, but yet no blue flags were popping up that I could see. So not sure if he actually knew that he needed to let him by, but it did eventually happen. Same TJ did happen to move out of the way.
Well, that's going to be really interesting as well, because I mean, like, do you think that was intentional, or do you think that you just played out that way?
No, I don't think so, because I really didn't see any blue flags. He was in front of him for quite a while that lap, but I was like, I wonder if he even knows that he's got someone behind him that he needs to let pass. But he did eventually, so it wasn't a big deal. So currently we got Rex on his last lap, if you want to follow along with him.
Yeah, let's quickly follow along. Coming down into turn 7 now. Kind of halfway through the lap now. It's come down into turn 8. Heavy braking zone, but you want to make sure to get the power on kind of halfway through. We're coming down on the power. Now coming down into a short little turn here. Turn 9. Braking as much as possible. Turning as much as possible. Shifting as much as possible. Down as you come on the power. A little too early, but I think that's good enough for him as he comes down into the DRS straight. Shortest DRS straight on the race here today as you come down into turn 11 here. Very much power on. You got to put the power on as much as possible. That's very good. He's come down into turn 12. Make sure not to get too much on the curb. He's come down into a fast turn 13, turning as much as possible. Come down the power. Come on the power as much as possible. As he's coming down the straight that has no DRS. He's come down, break in between the 100 and the 50 meters. He's come down into turn 14, a little bit of a turn 15, as now Rex comes across the line to take round number 1 here at the season 10 for Haas. Rex wins the Bahrain Grand Prix and takes the win here today. It's for Haas F1. They do it here today with Rex. It's pole to the win here today. D-Swish, you were saying earlier on that prediction that he was going to get a podium position. Well, there you go. You got second position. D-Swish gets second. It's Bamboo rounding out the top 3 for Renault F1.
Oh, and I just wanted to point out, someone actually notified as well in the chat, Dorian actually did get a puncture, and he was on the same amount of laps as Rex on the hard tires. So those were 2 drivers that I was very much paying attention to see if that happened. I just want to give Rex a big applause for managing those tires so well for such a long period of time. Quite impressive, I must say.
Yeah, pretty impressive, and especially he had the most tire wear out of anyone on the track. 22 laps old. So that's a big accomplishment, and especially to pull it off and take the win here today for round number 1. So he's leading the championship there. I want to give also a good congrats to McLaren as well. Their drivers, top 5 finish. Well done to both of the drivers here today. And I don't even think they started in the top 5. They've now finished top 5. D-Swish taking second, Blinn in 5th. So that's a great performance. As well as the 2 Alphas having a hard race here today. They finished 6th and 7th. So, and 2 Mercedes also getting double points as well. So really great to see that they're doing great, and it's incredible that they're doing this. So great result from everyone here today. Looks like Dorian's just going to come across the line about now, and we're going to finish season 10 of round number 1. Well, Breezy, you want to see if you can get anyone in here for the chat so we can talk to them about a little interview here, if that's possible?
Yes, I can. And I just wanted to point out D-Swish as a driver of the day as well.
Very good. Yeah, D-Swish, I think he definitely deserves driver of the day. A second place from quite some time back. I think he started 13th or 12th and finished on the podium. So he's looking really strong, especially for the season. So looking like he's got the competitiveness to possibly even take the win of the championship. So we'll have to see how that goes. But it is Rex, your championship leader, with, I do believe, McLaren taking the constructors lead here today.
All right, all the invites are out. We just got to remind our drivers that they turn on their party settings to where everyone can hear their voice chat before we start asking them some questions. We do have a few of our podium sitters making their way in. Please, if you haven't already, go into your party settings and have it set up to always allow for your voice to be shared.
Hello, guys.
Hello. Welcome.
All right, it looks like we got our top 3.
As you just got in here, I just wanted to point out party settings. Make sure that you have your voice always allowed.
I can have just Dorian with me, just for translate. Just more easy for me, you know.
Dorian? Yes,
Yeah.
sir. I will
Thank
shoot
you.
an invite.
Thanks.
Well, it looks like this is the end of the race here today. We got our drivers in here. It looks like our top 3 have joined us here today. If everyone's got the always allow button so everyone can hear you, let's quickly go into what you guys thought of the race. So let's start with Rex. What a great result for you today, taking the win, first race of the season. So how does it feel to take the win here today? And how does it feel also, someone asked, how does it feel to manage those tires to the very end? You had the most tire laps out of anyone. So how did you think about that?
For Breezy,
Sorry?
do you speak at me?
Sorry, what?
I'm sorry. I think he's Rex. I think he was asking about your tire management for those hard tires.
1 second, guys. Okay.
I don't think Rex is...
Welcome, Dorian. So you're here to kind of help with some of the translation. Okay, so don't know if you want to start that over, Broom.
Oh yes, yeah. Rex, I just wanted to ask, how did you feel about your race result here today, and also taking those hard tires for quite a while, and winning it out with those tires? Yes.
Oh, sorry, Dorian. I think we were actually trying to talk to Pazosaurus Rex.
Okay,
That's
Dorian.
actually who we were asking.
Someone needs to tell him to change his...
Yeah, Dorian. Alors, dis-lui, j'ai fait un... Le départ, il a été compliqué parce que j'ai pas compris trop ce qui s'est passé. Donc, j'ai poussé le maximum avec les pneus rouges. Je suis passé sur une stratégie à one stop. Et j'ai juste fait durer j'ai poussé le plus possible avec les blancs et voilà, pour aller le plus loin possible. Parce que je savais que la stratégie à un stop allait être plus rapide aujourd'hui.
Well, I think you did a great strategy. I mean, this is Bamboo. I'm talking to you, right?
Yes, yes it is.
And you came home for 3rd position as well, so great result for you. Do you think you have a chance of getting a good result in the championship?
Actuellement, j'essaye surtout de mettre le maximum de points pour Renault. J'ai vu que 10 Switch et le premier avait vraiment un bon rythme de course et pour l'instant on va se contenter de prendre le plus de points pour le team.
Well, definitely
Awesome.
good luck for the race
Sweet.
in the season as well. Breezy, did you have any more questions?
No, I think that about covers it. Very good job, though.
Alright, thank you guys.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. So if we want to move on to our 2nd place finisher, D-Swish.
Yeah, D-Swish. Hello, D-Swish. Welcome to the party here today. What a commanding performance from you. I just want to mention I'm Broom Handle, so just wanted to let you know that you did absolutely incredible. Taking that 2nd place, I do believe you started 12th or 13th on the grid, so getting 2nd place in the race, that must feel incredible.
Yeah, it's not bad. From the start of the race, I don't know if my game lagged or what happened because everybody like went off the line and I still had 5 red lights on my screen, so I didn't move. So I was like 18th going into the 1st corner.
I don't think that was your issue. I think everyone had that. We had a problem with the delayed start at the start of the race, so there was a problem there.
That does seem to be a common glitch right now with the game, unfortunately, that you ran into there. So you actually, being in 18th place coming into the 1st corner, did you happen to see how much carnage going on that we saw? I think I actually saw a few cars on top of other cars a little bit. I'm not sure what you saw from back there.
Yeah, I once I realized I was in 18th place, I just watched everything happen. I saw a car come in, I swear it didn't even brake and just took out like 2 cars. There was a car on top of another car as I was going around the corner. Like it was insanity for that 1st corner, yeah, for sure.
All right. Hey, I wanted to point out that you did pretty damn amazing job coming back all the way from 18th place, from the sounds of it, all the way up to 2nd. I think you had a really good chance for that 1st place position. Did you kind of see that coming your way? Were you really pushing towards the end there to close that gap? Did you? Yeah, just trying to get your thoughts on that.
Yes, so I was always going to do a 1-stop. I unfortunately crashed in qualifying. So I couldn't post a fast time on my mediums. So I was trying to qualify in the top 10 on mediums, but then at the end of the race, I couldn't get past that Renault that was in front of me. I don't know if he was running less downforce than me, but if I would have gotten past him a couple laps earlier, I think I would have won. Because I was closing on Rex like extremely quick the last couple laps.
Yeah, I think I did some quick calculations prior to you catching up to the back of BAM, and BAM kind of getting held up by F1 Racer a little bit. I think you were doing a 2nd faster a lap than Rex, so definitely a good push. Traffic happens, so but either way, very impressive 2nd place. Look forward to watching that in the future.
Yeah, thanks guys. Congratulations to Rex. I don't know how you did 22 laps on hards, but congratulations, bud.
Well, congratulations, D-Switch, for getting that second place and a chance of possibly getting a championship winning title here today at Season 10. So congrats on the great performance here today from about 18th to second place. So good luck to see you in round number 2 at China.
All right, thanks guys. Have a good night.
You as well. All right, looks like we got Rex here, our race winner. How did that feel to take those 22-lap-old hard tires at the very end of the race, and how did that feel to take the first win here today of the championship?
So I don't think we can hear Rex. Not sure if he's having microphone issues. However, I think everybody here today that has been watching would say that he's done an amazing job just making those tires last to the end. Definitely best of the rest tonight. And maybe we'll get a chance to talk to him at a later date when he ends up on the podium then. I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we can get him in here for soon. We'll have to see. So sorry about that, but yeah, Rex did a phenomenal job today. I'm actually just scrolling over his car, the Haas car. But yeah, he did an absolutely phenomenal job here today, taking the win with those hard tires. We'll look to hopefully see him back here at this next race in the Chinese Grand Prix for round number 2. All right, I do believe that is the end of the interviews. I don't believe we got anyone else in here. Do you know if anyone else wanted to do an interview before we wrap things up, Breezy?
No, I think traditionally we tend to just interview the podium finishers, or if we see some crazy action going on that we have some questions for in the paddock. But outside of that, I think we're good. I think we've interviewed everyone that we intended on interviewing. So.
All right, I think we're going to end it off here. Thank you so much, Breezy, for joining me here today for the commentary of round number 1 of the Season 10 Championship for Silver Class at TCR. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Broomhandle, joined by Breezy for today's Grand Prix at the Bahrain Grand Prix. We'll see you next time for the round number 2 at the Chinese Grand Prix in just a few days' time. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe and like the channel, subscribe to the channel. They have amazing content on all leagues. And yeah, please subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you enjoyed it. I hope you did. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Broom and Breezy signing off for today's commentary. See you next week.